In an earlier video, I covered the meaning of a yogi, the difference between a yogi and a sannyasi, and the characteristics of a yogi. Remember, a yogi any day, according to the Gita, is even superior to a sannyasi or a person who is on the path of renunciation. In this video, I'll discuss how you progress through the journey of a yogi. A yogi passes through 4 stages of maturity. Let us go through these 4 stages one after the other. Remember, topics like these are not something you listen once and absorb. Sometimes you have to go back and re-listen again and again. The Gita, amplified by the great seer Yamunacharya, details the 4 stages of a yogi for us. In the first stage, a yogi sees their own self in all other selves and all other selves in his or her own self. Let me repeat it. In the first stage, a yogi sees their own self in all other selves and all other selves in their own self. Meaning, the yogi links everything in this universe as a thread of an overall fabric. It is just that every individual, everything around there is a different thread and different color. That's all it is. It's part of the fabric. Equanimity is established in the first stage. While the yogi realizes the distinction between souls and inanimate and animate objects, the yogi appreciates the commonality in their innate character. It's like when a gemologist has seized 2 diamonds. He or she says, the second one is the same as the first one, but of a different shape, size, and characteristics. Knowing very well that at the end of the day, in themselves, the 2 stones are diamonds. The yogi in the first stage has mastered and learnt this art of discrimination. That the true knowledge, which is that everybody around us and everything around us have a commonality. And it is our actions and behavior, which by now you already know is called karma, which makes the individuals unique. Let's get to the second stage. In the second stage, the yogi expands on the knowledge of discrimination gained in the first step and starts to contemplate now not on individuals but on the divine. The yogi says and asks a question: if a supreme divine is undisturbed by our actions, meaning free from karma, then isn't an individual soul that is severed or disconnected from karma also like the divine? With this realization, the yogi sees all beings as part of the divine and the divine in all beings. Then the yogi goes a step further and says, if I see the divine in all beings and all beings in the divine, how can the divine be ever out of my sight? Why am I searching for the divine when it is right here within me? Like a child, the question then crosses up in the yogi's mind. An inquisitive child is what the yogi becomes. Does the divine see me as well the same way I see the divine as the yogi? The yogi's spiritual maturity takes on the role of a mother and echoes the answer loudly to the child. Indeed, the divine is in all beings. I am always connected to the divine, and the divine is always connected to you. The divine is always seeing you, and I'm never out of the sight of the divine, which means the divine has a direct vision onto me. The great philosopher Bhagavad Ramanuja says it beautifully. When you surrender to divinity in a name and form like Narayana, it is his responsibility to take care of you and not your responsibility to seek his protection. With that knowledge gained in stage 2, now the yogi proceeds to the stage 3. In the third stage, the yogi goes to greater depths, from the individual of the first step to the divine of the second step to the very nature of the soul or energy that runs this universe. In the third stage, the yogi comes to a realization and knowledge that the pervasiveness of a soul like ours occurs through a flow of energy. And when severed or detached from karma or action, that pervasive knowledge is the same for every individual, every soul, every animate or any other animate, or even same for the Supreme Divine. Thus, in the third stage, the yogi gains the answer to a very important question, that the energy driving this universe is common in all of us. And that energy is the divine. The yogi experiences this maturity through meditation. The learning and knowledge is ingrained such that even after coming out of a meditative state, the yogi's mind remains completely in unison with everything around him or her. Now the yogi goes to the fourth and the highest stage. In the fourth and the highest stage, the yogi can reason out and apply all the previous 3 stages under any physical or emotional condition. Sorrow or joy does not mask the yogi's thinking. A great seer once said in the fourth stage, the yogi is beyond pain and pleasure. The experience from the loss of his or her own son is no more harsh or painful as the loss of the son of a stranger. When you reach the fourth stage, my friends, the yogi is at the highest elevation of spirituality and can be thought to be a mystic. An individual who has become a yogi and passes through the fourth stages is completely liberated, realized, or using the common vocabulary, has attained moksha. Passing through these 4 stages is not difficult, but it requires a discipline. And when I say it requires to be in a meditative state, it is not something fancy. As I have covered in so many of these videos on this channel, being in a meditative state is more about contemplation, more about focus, less about the dress, less about the attire, less about the place, less about your posture. Of course, all of them would help you put in a zone, and if it does, definitely go for it. Not only have you understood the difference between a sannyasi and a yogi in the previous video and why the yogi is important, as Krishna says, the yogi is more important and always better than a sannyasi or an ascetic. But in this video, you have also looked through the spiritual maturity or the 4 stages a yogi goes through. In my next video, I will cover the last topic in this series of a yogi, which is, can you become a yogi? Till then, stay blessed, stay healthy, and I'll talk to you soon.